The silent alarm woke Lieutenant Commander Alexis Monroe from a deep sleep. The clock on her wall showed 0300 hours. She groaned, but was fully alert within seconds. Years of training had conditioned her to respond to emergency signals without hesitation. As head of the Astronomical Threat Assessment Division at Lunar Base Alpha, she knew that middle-of-the-night alerts were never good news. She dressed quickly and hurried through the curved hallways of the underground facility. Her team was all ready, gathered around the main monitoring station, their faces lit by the blue glow of holographic displays. Technician Faye Wilson looked up as Alexis entered. She pointed at a cluster of unusual energy readings near the outer boundary of the solar system. "Something is out there," Commander Faye said. Her voice was steady, but Alexis noticed the slight tremor in her hands. It shows movement patterns that don't match any natural phenomena. Alexis studied the data stream. The objects were positioned in a grid formation and were adjusting their trajectory in ways that defied natural orbital mechanics. Whatever they were, they moved with purpose and intelligence. "How long have we been tracking these objects?" Alexis asked. "Nearly 6 hours," Faye replied. "We wanted to be certain before waking you. The computer confirms 99% probability of artificial origin." Alexis felt a chill run down her spine. She had trained for this moment her entire career. First contact. The objects were now crossing Neptune orbit, heading inward toward Earth. "Send the automated warning buoys," Alexis ordered. Standard first contact protocol. Mathematical sequences, universal constants, and basic translation matrices. The warning buoys carried a simple message. "This system is inhabited. Approach with peaceful intent or remain beyond Pluto orbit. We will interpret any unauthorized approach as hostile intent." The team watched in tense silence as the buoys transmitted their messages. The response came 3 minutes later. Every buoy went dark simultaneously. "Destroyed without acknowledgement. Get me a direct line to Admiral Wright," Alexis said. "Now." 30 minutes later. Alexis stood before the United Nations Space Defense Council in their underground chamber beneath Geneva. The meeting had been called with such urgency that some representatives appeared via hologram, their images flickering slightly as the quantum entanglement network struggled with the encrypted transmission. Load Admiral Catherine Wright, a stern woman with silver hair pulled into a tight bun, stood at the central podium. Her uniform bore the insignia of Earth Combined Defense Force. "We have been monitoring these visitors for longer than Lieutenant Commander Monroe realizes," Admiral Wright said. Her voice echoed. "In the cavernous room, the quantum entanglement telescopes deployed beyond Pluto have given us nearly 3 months of observation data." The Admiral gestured and a 3-dimensional projection appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the approaching vessels in high detail. Their hulls were dark and angular with no visible windows or external lights. The formation was tight and organized, with smaller craft positioned protectively around larger central ships. "This is not an exploration fleet," Admiral Wright continued. "The configuration matches known warfleet formations documented throughout military history, and they have ignored every diplomatic message we have sent." The council chamber erupted in overlapping voices. Fear and anger mingled as representatives argued about the appropriate response. Admiral Wright allowed the chaos to continue for several moments before raising her hand for silence. "We have limited time to prepare," she said. "We must assume hostile intent and activate the planetary defense grid." Alexis stepped forward, feeling the weight of every eye in the chamber turned toward her. She had spent the flight from Luna reviewing archived deep space monitoring logs. There was something familiar about the energy signatures, something that had nagged at her subconscious until she had found the connection. "Admiral, I believe we have encountered these visitors before." Alexis said. Her words fell into sudden silence. These same energy signatures were detected 30 years ago. They appeared briefly at the edge of our system, then vanished. 3 days later, we lost all contact with our research outpost on Titan. When the rescue team arrived, they found no survivors, no bodies either. Everyone was simply gone. The revelation sent a new wave of murmurs through the chamber. Admiral Wright studied Alexis with a calculating gaze. How certain are you of this connection, Commander? The energy pattern matches 97.6%. Alexis replied. The only logical conclusion is that they have been here before. They studied us. They took samples, and now they have returned in force. Vice Secretary Paula Rodriguez of South America leaned forward. Why now? What has changed in 30 years? Perhaps nothing, Alexis said. Perhaps everything. In 30 years, we have expanded to Mars, established permanent bases on several moons, and increased our interplanetary traffic by 700%. We are more visible now. Our technological progress may have triggered some threshold. In their assessment protocols, Secretary General Kim nodded slowly. So they watched us grow, decided we were becoming a potential threat, and have returned to eliminate us before we advance further. That would be consistent with their behavior so far. Alexis confirmed. Admiral Wright turned to the Council, her expression grave. The visitors will reach Mars orbit in approximately 72 hours, Earth orbit in 96. I recommend immediate activation of all defense protocols, including contingency. Aurora, the Secretary General paled at the mention of Aurora. Whatever Aurora was, it clearly represented an extreme measure. Alexis noticed several council members exchange meaningful glances. The motion is approved, the Secretary General said. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Begin full mobilization. Send out the call to all off-world personnel. Priority Alpha. Implement. Deep space communications. Blackout. Defense condition. One is now in effect as the council members dispersed. Alexis found herself walking alongside Admiral Wright. The older woman seemed lost in thought. Her eyes focused on something distant. This won't be like the simulations, Commander, the Admiral said quietly. These visitors have technology far beyond our conventional defenses. They expect us to fight with missiles and kinetic weapons. What will we fight with then? Alexis asked. The Admiral smiled, but there was no warmth in the expression. They think they know what we are capable of. That is their first mistake. She paused, at a heavily guarded doorway that Alexis had never noticed before despite her many visits to the council chamber. The second mistake was ignoring our warnings. The door slid open, revealing a vertical transport tube that glowed with blue light. The Admiral gestured for Alexis to enter. Time for you to learn what we have been preparing for the past 50 years. Commander, welcome to Project Thunderclap. 3 weeks after the Kavalar attack, Earth had changed forever. The world governments had revealed the truth about Project Thunderclap and humanity's hidden technological advancement. People everywhere were still adjusting to the knowledge that their civilization was far more advanced than they had been led to believe. Alexis stood in the observation deck of the Lunar Diplomatic Center, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The blue planet seemed peaceful from this distance, showing no signs of the recent conflict or the profound transformation that had followed. The center had been hastily converted from a military installation to accommodate an unexpected development. Dr. Samantha Wells entered the observation deck, carrying a data tablet. The xenobiologist and first contact specialist had been working non-stop since the captured Kavalar vessel yielded its secrets. Her eyes were tired but bright with excitement. I finally completed the translation of their complete archives, she announced. Those communication logs were incredibly complex, but the patterns finally made sense. She handed the tablet to Alexis. Alexis scrolled through the report, her expression growing more serious with each page. They've done this hundreds of times, she said quietly. The Kavalar Dominion has a systematic approach to conquest. They identify developing worlds, monitor their progress, and strike when the civilization reaches spaceflight. But before it develops, advanced defensive capabilities. Wells nodded. But that's not all. The communications contain references to a hierarchical structure. The Kavalar themselves aren't the top of the food chain. They answer to someone else, someone they fear. A shiver ran down Alexis's spine. Another more powerful species controlling the Kavalar. Could there be an entire empire of conquered worlds out there? A galactic dominion that had now become aware of Earth? Admiral Martinez joined them on the observation deck. The visitors will be arriving within the hour she said we should prepare. When the Kavalar fleet had retreated beyond Pluto's orbit, Admiral Martinez had authorized a final message to them. The people of Earth offered you peace. You chose war. We have recorded the coordinates of your core worlds from your navigation systems. We will not pursue you if you never return. But should any Kavalar vessel cross Pluto's orbit again, we will consider it an act of war against humanity. No one had expected a response. Yet 3 days later, a transmission had arrived. Not from the Kavalar, but from another source entirely. It had come through quantum channels previously unknown to Earth, requesting a diplomatic meeting. 17 representatives from different worlds arrive at the lunar diplomatic center exactly on schedule. Their ship was unlike the Kavalar vessel, smaller and more elegant. Its design suggested cooperation rather than conquest. The beings who emerged represented a stunning variety of life forms. Some appeared almost human, others were completely alien in form and structure. Dr. Wells greeted them using the translation protocols she'd developed from the Kavalar data. The lead representative stepped forward, a tall, slender being with iridescent skin that shifted colors as it moved. We monitored your defense against the Kavalar Dominion. The representative began, their voice processed through the translation system. For generations, our worlds have suffered under their control. No species has ever defeated them until now. Commander Monroe welcomed them officially as Earth's designated diplomatic liaison. For this meeting, she wore a formal uniform with the newly created insignia of the United Earth Defense Force. The representatives were brought to a large conference chamber where Admiral Martinez and Secretary General Kim waited along with other Earth leaders. The lead representative introduced themselves as Lyra, from the world of Etheria. We represent 17 worlds that were conquered by the Kavalar Dominion, Lyra explained. Some of us have been under their control for centuries, others for only decades. We have formed a hidden alliance, sharing information and technology in secret, preparing for an opportunity to break free. Secretary General Kim leaned forward. How did you contact us through quantum channels we didn't know existed? Lyra's skin shifted to a deep blue. We have been watching Earth for some time. One of our operatives was stationed on Titan when the Kavalar took their specimens 30 years ago. We have monitored your development since then, but were forbidden from making contact by our own protocols. Forbidden, Alexis asked, by whom? Lyra hesitated. The Galactic Accords. Among spacefaring civilizations there are rules against interfering with developing worlds. The Kavalar regularly violate these accords, but most species respect them. Admiral Martinez frowned. You knew the Kavalar would attack us, yet you did nothing to warn us. Another representative stepped forward, this one resembling a tall insectoid with compound eyes and chitinous armor. We could not interfere directly, it said, its mandibles clicking, but we did provide subtle assistance. The crashed scout ship in your Pacific Ocean 50 years ago, that was our doing. We arranged for that technology to reach you without direct contact. Understanding dawned on the Earth delegation. The mysterious technology that had jump-started Project Thunderclap had been deliberately provided, a covert way to help Earth defend itself without breaking these galactic accords. Dr. Porter, who had joined the meeting, looked stunned. So the technology we reverse-engineered, it was planted? Not exactly, Lyra clarified. The vessel was genuinely Kavalar, but its trajectory was altered by our agents to ensure it crashed on your world in a recoverable condition. We could not give you technology directly, but we could arrange for you to find it yourselves. Secretary General Kim's expression was difficult to read. Was this manipulation or genuine assistance? Perhaps both. What do you want from us now? She asked directly. Lyra's skin shifted to a vibrant purple alliance. The Kavalar Dominion controls over 60 worlds. Their recent defeat by your forces has created instability throughout their territory. For the first time in centuries, they appear vulnerable. Many subjugated worlds are on the verge of rebellion. They need only leadership and support. Admiral Wright, who had remained silent until now, studied the delegates carefully. This sounds like you're asking us to fight your war. Not fight for us, Lyra corrected. Fight with us. Together, we can end the Kavalar threat permanently. Free all worlds under their control, Admiral Martinez exchanged glances with the secretary. General, such an alliance would have profound implications for Earth involvement in an interstellar conflict, was far beyond anything humanity had prepared for. Yet the alternative, allowing the Kavalar to regroup and return with greater force, seemed equally dangerous. Alexis reviewed Dr. Wells's translations of the Kavalar archives. The records showed a pattern. The Kavalar never accepted defeat. They simply retreated, regrouped, and returned with overwhelming force. Earth's victory had only bought them time. We need to understand more about these galactic accords, Alexis said, and about the greater galactic community. Before we commit to any alliance, we need to know what we're involving ourselves. Lyra nodded. Understanding. Our ship contains a comprehensive database of galactic knowledge. We offer it freely as a gesture of good faith. For the next several hours, the Earth delegation received a crash course in galactic politics. The 17 representatives explained how the galaxy was loosely organized into sectors. Some species formed cooperative alliances, others remained isolated. The Kavalar Dominion was one of several expansionist powers that preyed on developing worlds. As Alexis absorbed this information, she realized how fortunate Earth had been. Their strategy of technological deception had given them a critical advantage, but it was an advantage they would never have again. Now they needed allies, information, and a longer-term strategy. 2 days later, after intensive discussions and review of the provided data, Earth's leaders made their decision. Secretary General Kim addressed the assembled representatives. Earth will join your alliance, she announced. But we have conditions. The formation of this alliance must be based on mutual respect and cooperation, not domination or control. Technology must be shared equally. We will not replace one dominion with another. Lyra's skin glowed with a warm golden hue. These terms are acceptable. Indeed, they are what we hoped. For the Kavalar rule through fear and force, our alliance must stand for something better. Admiral Martinez stepped forward. The people of Earth offered the Kavalar peace. They chose war, she said, her voice firm. We will extend the same choice to them once more. But this time with the full strength of our alliance behind us. Alexis watched as the treaty was formalized, each representative placing their mark upon it in their own cultural tradition. When her turn came, she thought of the specimens recovered from the Kavalar vessel. The people from dozens of worlds who had been taken, studied, and preserved. She signed not just for Earth, but for them as well, for all those who could not speak for themselves. 1 month later, Alexis stood on the bridge of the EDS Nemesis, Lieutenant Foster at her side. The ship had been upgraded with technology shared by their new allies. Its capabilities now far exceeded its original design. The view screen showed a vast armada assembled beyond Jupiter's orbit, ships from 18 worlds, including Earth, united in common purpose. Admiral Martinez transmitted the final message to the assembled fleet. The Kavalar Dominion ignored Earth's warnings. Their fleets became space debris. She said, now we bring that same message to their homeworld. They can choose peace and release their conquered worlds, or they can choose war and face the consequences of that decision. The boarding team approached the disabled Kavalar vessel with extreme caution. Alexis watched from the EDS Nemesis as Lieutenant Foster led the operation. The team wore advanced environmental suits that could adapt to unknown conditions. Their weapons were non-lethal, designed to incapacitate rather than kill. We want prisoners, Admiral Martinez had instructed. They need to understand that we could have destroyed them completely, but chose restraint. That message will carry more weight than simple destruction. The alien ship hung motionless in space, its hull breached in multiple locations, but its central section still intact. The quantum displacement mines had targeted propulsion and weapons systems, leaving the command center and data storage areas untouched. This was by design. Earth needed intelligence. Lieutenant Foster's voice came through the secure channel. Boarding team has reached the main access point, cutting through now. No signs of active defense systems. Alexis felt tension building in her chest. This was humanity's first direct contact with the Kavalar. No one knew what to expect, despite decades of preparation and study. "We have access," Foster reported moments later, moving into the vessel. "Now atmosphere is breathable, but we're maintaining suit protocols. Internal gravity at point 8. Earth normal corridors appear designed for humanoid life forms approximately our size." The team's helmet cameras transmitted everything back to the Nemesis. The alien ship's interior was surprisingly austere. Corridors of dark metal with minimal decoration or markings, no visible control panels or interfaces. The boarding team moved deeper into the vessel, guided by scans that indicated life signs ahead. "Movement detected," Foster whispered. "We have contact." The camera feeds showed Kavalar crew members. Their appearance was unsettling, almost human, but wrong somehow. Their skin was pale with a bluish tint, their limbs slightly too long, their movements too fluid. They wore no apparent protective gear or uniforms, just simple dark coverings. The aliens scattered at the sight of the boarding team. Some tried to flee, others reached for weapons. Foster's team responded with precision. The non-lethal stun weapons fired pulses of energy that disrupted neural activity without causing permanent damage. The aliens dropped unconscious. Foster approached one of the fallen Kavalar and scanned it. "Bipedal humanoid, approximately 2 meters in height," she reported. "Physical similarities to humans are striking. Convergent evolution or something else entirely." "Continue to the command center," Alexis instructed. "We need their navigation data and communication logs." Priority 1. The team progressed through the vessel, encountering minimal resistance. Most of the crew had either abandoned ship or were hiding. The few who fought were quickly subdued. Meanwhile, at Pacific Command, Admiral Martinez coordinated the global response to the invasion 20 minutes after. The Kavalar retreat. The first public announcements were made. Earth's leaders revealed the truth about Project Thunderclap and humanity's hidden technological advancement. The news was met with shock, then celebration, as people emerged from shelters to find their world intact. Dr. Porter arrived at Pacific Command, her expression serious. But the battle had taken a toll. Dark circles under her eyes revealed her exhaustion. "The Kavalar technology is remarkable," she told Martinez and Alexis. "But it's not as advanced as it first appeared. Their weapons are powerful, yes, but the underlying principles are familiar. Almost as if they stole it." Admiral Martinez finished the thought. "They didn't develop most of this technology themselves, did they?" Porter shook her head. "I don't believe so. Some components show completely different design philosophies. The integration is imperfect. There are inefficiencies that wouldn't exist in technology developed organically by a single civilization. So they're scavengers," Alexis said. "They conquer worlds and take their technology exactly." Porter confirmed, "Which means there are other species out there, more advanced than the Kavalar, and potentially more dangerous." Lieutenant Foster's voice interrupted their discussion. Admiral Weave reached the command center. "Their data storage systems are intact. We're beginning download now." She paused, her voice dropping. "Something else you should see." The camera feed showed a large chamber beyond the command center. Inside were hundreds of transparent containers. Each held a different life form, suspended in some kind of preservation fluid. Some appeared humanoid. Others were completely alien. One container held what was unmistakably a human body. "They take specimens," Alexis whispered. "From every world they conquer." Foster zoomed in on markings beside each container. Dates, locations, species designations. "This is a collection," she said, her voice tight with controlled anger. "This chamber contains samples from at least 30 different worlds." Admiral Martinez's expression hardened. "Download everything," she ordered, "and prepare the specimens for transport back to Earth. Those people deserve proper treatment, even if we can't save them." As the boarding team continued their work, Earth's defense forces secured the solar system. The few remaining Kavalar vessels that hadn't retreated were disabled and captured, their crews taken prisoner. Security protocols remained at maximum. Humanity had won this battle, but the war might just be beginning at a secure facility in Geneva. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session. The room was filled with world leaders, military commanders, and scientific advisors. All had been briefed on the true nature of Project Thunderclap and the Kavalar Threat Secretary General Kim addressed the assembly. The events of the past 48 hours have forever changed our place in the galaxy. She began, "We are no longer alone, and we are no longer hidden. The Kavalar know our true capabilities now, and we must assume they will share that knowledge with others." Admiral Wright stood next. "Our victory was decisive but not complete. The Kavalar homeworld remains untouched. Their fleet, though damaged, is still largely intact. We must prepare for their return." Dr. Porter presented her preliminary findings on the captured technology. "The Kavalar are technological scavengers," she explained. "They conquer developing worlds, harvesting both biological specimens and technology. They appear to have been doing this for centuries. Their strategy is to identify civilizations that have achieved spaceflight but not advanced weapons technology, worlds that would be easy conquests, and they misjudged us." Colonel Blackwood added, joining via secure link from Mars. "Our strategy of technological deception worked perfectly. They expected primitive defenses and found instead weapons specifically designed to counter their capabilities. But we can't rely on surprise again, Admiral," Martinez warned. "They will adapt. Their next approach will be different." The Council debated options ranging from purely defensive preparations to a preemptive strike against the Kavalar homeworld. The discussion grew heated until Alexis stepped forward. "The navigation data from the captured vessel gives us the coordinates of their core worlds," she said. "We know where they come from. We know how they travel. Their faster-than-light technology is impressive, but not incomprehensible. We could reach their homeworld if necessary." Admiral Martinez nodded. "But that would make us the aggressors," she pointed out. A line we should consider carefully before crossing. Dr. Porter raised another concern. "The specimens we recovered from the Kavalar vessel suggest they've conquered many worlds. Some may still be under their control. There could be enslaved species who would welcome liberation." Admiral Wright's expression was thoughtful. "We need more information before making our next move." "Intelligence about the Kavalar, their empire, their subject worlds. I propose we send a stealth mission, an expedition to gather information without revealing our presence." Lieutenant Foster, who had returned from the boarding operation, stood. "I volunteer to lead that mission. Admiral, the Nemesis is designed for stealth reconnaissance. We could approach their territory, observe and return without detection." Secretary General Kim considered the proposal. "The Council will need time to deliberate. This is not a decision to be made hastily. In the meantime, we must maintain defensive readiness and continue studying the captured technology." As the meeting concluded, Alexis found herself standing beside Admiral Martinez, gazing at a holographic display of the known galaxy. The Kavalar home system glowed red, a potential threat nearly 40 light-years from Earth. "Do you think they expected any of this?" Admiral Alexis asked softly. "When they sent their first scout ships 30 years ago, did they have any idea what they were awakening?" Martinez smiled grimly. "They saw what they wanted to see, Commander. A primitive species taking its first steps into space. Easy prey. Nothing more." She zoomed out the display, showing thousands of star systems. "They ignored our warnings. Now their fleets are space debris, and soon the galaxy will know that humanity is not to be trifled with." Alexis nodded, but couldn't help wondering, was this victory the end of a threat, or the beginning of something much larger? Humanity had revealed itself to the stars. There was no going back. Now they had to be ready for whatever came next. Pacific Command was built into the side of an underwater mountain range, 3 kilometers beneath the ocean surface. The massive facility had been constructed in secret decades ago, disguised as a deep-sea mining operation. Alexis arrived via high-speed submarine. Her mind still processing everything she had learned at Thunderclap Command, Fleet Admiral Olivia Martinez was waiting in the command center. A compact woman with intense eyes and short dark hair, she radiated authority. Her uniform bore no insignia or rank markers, just a simple blue jumpsuit like everyone else in the facility. "Welcome to the front lines, Commander Monroe," she said. Her voice was calm but carried an edge of anticipation. The visitors will reach Earth orbit in 12 hours. Their advanced ships are already passing lunar orbit. The main display showed the alien fleet in high resolution. Their vessels were massive, the largest nearly 5 kilometers in length. Their hulls absorbed light rather than reflected, it giving them an ominous appearance. They moved in perfect formation like predators, confident in their superiority. Admiral Martinez pointed to a secondary display. This shows our visible defense grid, conventional satellites, orbital platforms, and surface-to-space weapon systems. She tapped a command and a second overlay appeared. This is our actual defense. Grid Alexis gasped. The difference was staggering. What appeared to be a modest planetary defense system was in reality an intricate web of concealed weapons, platforms, stealth satellites, and hidden installations throughout the solar system. The aliens see only the first layer, Admiral Martinez explained. They believe they face an opponent barely capable of interplanetary travel. Their scans show what we've wanted everyone to see for decades. A communications officer called out, "Admiral, we have multiple messages from world capitals. The Security Council is demanding updates. Maintain communications." "Blackout," Martinez ordered calmly. "We're sticking to the plan. Let the visitors think we're in disarray, that our leadership is panicking." She turned to Alexis. "The first phase of their attack will target what they perceive as our critical defense infrastructure. They'll destroy the decoys we've placed precisely for this purpose." "What about civilian casualties?" Alexis asked. "All major population centers have been evacuated to underground shelters over the past 24 hours. Martinez replied. "Those who couldn't be moved are protected by other means." She didn't elaborate, but her confidence was reassuring. A soft alert chimed throughout the command center. "The visitors have entered high Earth orbit," announced a tactical officer. "They're deploying in standard invasion formation." "Admiral," Martinez nodded. "This is proceeding exactly as we anticipated," she said. She activated a secure communication channel. "Colonel Blackwood, is your team in position?" "Ready and waiting." "Admiral," came the response from Mars. "All Valkyrie platforms show green." Status. Martinez opened another channel. "Dr. Porter, are the Mercury collectors online, fully charged and awaiting your command?" Porter replied. The solar energy collectors had been disguised as research stations on Mercury's surface for over 15 years. Their true purpose was about to be revealed. Lieutenant Shannon Foster reporting from Nemesis. Admiral Foster's voice came through clear and confident. Her stealth destroyer and the rest of Earth's true fleet remained hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system. Weapons, hot engines primed, were ready to emerge on your mark. Perfect, Martinez said. She turned to the command center staff. "All stations prepare for Operation Thunderclap. Our visitors are about to receive the surprise of their existence." The alien fleet completed its deployment, their massive ships positioning themselves above major cities and military installations. Smaller vessels descended into the atmosphere, clearly beginning their expected conquest. Suddenly, all communication systems on Earth activated simultaneously, broadcasting the same message in every language. Your planet is now under the control of the Kavalar. Dominion resistance is futile and will result in planetary sterilization. Admiral Martinez smiled without humor. "They actually said resistance is futile," she remarked. "How unoriginal." She straightened her shoulders and addressed the command staff. "The Kavalar have made their intentions clear. They ignored our warnings, destroyed our messenger, boys, and now threaten our world. They expect us to surrender or die. Those are not acceptable options." She took a deep breath. Now she ordered quietly. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations activated in perfect synchronization. 50 years of preparation came to fruition. On Mercury, massive energy collectors focused their power. On Venus, stealth platforms locked targeting systems. Beneath Europa's icy surface, quantum entanglement communicators transmitted execution codes. The first wave of Earth's true defense grid activated with surgical precision. From orbit, it would appear as though nothing was happening. No energy signatures, no weapon launches, no obvious resistance. But within the alien vessels, Chaos erupted, microscopic. Nanite clouds deployed months ago in anticipation of this moment infiltrated the alien vessel's propulsion systems. Gravitational singularity weapons, impossibly small black holes with millisecond lifespans, appeared inside alien command centers. Quantum displacement mines teleported sections of alien hulls into deep space on. The command center displays Alexis watched in amazement as alien vessels began to drift, their formation breaking apart as critical systems failed throughout their fleet. Some ships simply disappeared, sections of their hulls vanishing as though they had never existed. Others went dark, power systems failing completely. A few began to spin out of control, their navigation systems compromised. Admiral Martinez allowed herself a small smile. 17 minutes, she announced. 1/3 of their fleet disabled or destroyed without firing a single conventional weapon. Exactly as predicted, the Cavallo responded with furious retaliation. Their remaining vessels launched. A barrage of exotic weapons, antimatter cascades rained down toward Earth's surface, targeting major cities and military installations. But where destruction should have followed, there was nothing. The antimatter weapons dissipated harmlessly against quantum shield barriers that snapped into existence around population centers. Kinetic bombardment rods aimed at hardened military installations were intercepted by microsecond temporal stasis field zits. Time for Phase 2, Martinez said. She opened a channel to all Earth forces. Lieutenant Foster, bring the fleet online. Throughout the solar system, Earth's true warships emerged from dimensional pockets. Not the crude rockets and primitive spacecraft the aliens had observed, but sleek vessels, powered by contained artificial singularities. Their hulls gleamed with the same light-absorbing material as the alien ships, but refined and improved. Lieutenant Shannon Foster, commanding Earth's first official space destroyer, the EDS Nemesis, broke stealth protocols. Her ship materialized directly behind the alien command vessel, its weapon systems targeting the larger ship's vulnerable points. This is Lieutenant Shannon Foster of the Earth Defense Ship. Nemesis Foster transmitted on all frequencies, addressing the alien command ship directly. We studied you for decades. Every time you sent scout ships, we let one escape with exactly the data we wanted you to have. You thought you were hunting us. You were being baited. The alien commander, now visible on communication screens, showed the first signs of uncertainty. Its skin was pale with a bluish tint, its eyes large and unblinking. Its mouth moved strangely as it responded. Impossible. Your species was assessed as technological category 3. This is category 7 weaponry. The alien's voice was translated through the communication system, sounding mechanical and cold. You should have responded to our warnings. Foster replied. This is your final chance to retreat. Instead of retreating, the alien fleet regrouped. Their formation tightened as they prepared another attack wave, their weapons charged, glowing with deadly energy. Admiral Martinez watched the tactical display calmly. They're desperate now, she said. They can't comprehend how thoroughly they've been deceived. She turned to her communications officer. Signal Dr. Porter. Activate Thunderclap final phase. Throughout the solar system, gravitational lens arrays hidden for decades focused on precise coordinates. The fabric of space-time around key alien vessels momentarily folded, exposing them to the unshielded heart of the sun. For a fraction of a second, ships flashed into superheated plasma instantly. The alien formation broke as panic spread through their ranks. The Cavalier commander appeared once more on the communication screen. Its composure shattered, its eyes wide with something Alexis recognized as fear. What are you? It demanded. How is this possible? You were primitive. You were vulnerable. Admiral Martinez stood before the communication display, her posture relaxed but her eyes hard with determination. We are humanity, she said simply. We offered peace. You chose war. You ignored our warnings. Now your fleet is becoming space debris. A tactical officer called out. Admiral, the alien vessels are breaking formation. They're retreating. Let them go, Martinez ordered. But track them. I want to know exactly where they run to. She turned to Alexis. This isn't over, Commander. The Kavalar Dominion doesn't suffer defeat. Easily they'll return with a larger force unless we convince them that Earth is not worth the cost. Alexis nodded understanding. Now that the immediate threat was neutralized, humanity needed to ensure the Kavalar would never return. What had begun as a defense operation would need to become something more, a clear message to any species that might threaten Earth in the future. We need to capture their technology, Alexis suggested. Come from. The transport tube descended at breathtaking speed. Alexis estimated they had traveled at least 3 kilometers beneath the surface before it finally slowed. The doors opened to reveal a vast underground complex humming with activity. Welcome to Thunderclap Command, Admiral Wright said, stepping into a cavernous operations center. People in unmarked uniforms moved with purpose between workstations. The walls displayed real-time data from across the solar system. Dr. Elaine Porter approached them. Her white lab coat stood out among the military uniforms. Her auburn hair was streaked with gray, and deep lines around her eyes suggested years of intense work. Is this our new tactical liaison? Dr. Porter asked, studying Alexis with keen interest. Admiral Wright nodded. Commander Monroe discovered the connection to the Titan incident. She's earned the right to know what we're facing and what we've prepared. Dr. Porter gestured for them to follow. She led them through a security checkpoint where their retinas were scanned before a massive vault door slid open. Beyond lay a laboratory unlike anything Alexis had ever seen. Strange devices hummed on workbenches. Materials that seemed to shift and change as she looked at them were contained in transparent fields. 50 years ago, we recovered technology from a scout ship that crashed in the Pacific. Dr. Porter explained. We kept it completely off the books. Even most world leaders don't know about this facility or what we've accomplished here. She picked up what looked like an ordinary piece of metal. It shimmered slightly in the light. We reverse-engineered materials beyond anything publicly available. Developed weapons specifically designed to counter technologically superior aggressors. Alexis struggled to process what she was seeing. Project Thunderclap had remained hidden during her entire military career. How was that possible? The public thinks our most advanced ships use fusion propulsion. Dr. Porter continued. They believe our defensive capabilities consist of kinetic weapons and nuclear deterrence. She smiled thinly. The visitors will expect us to be primitive. Their scans will show exactly what we've wanted. The galaxy to see. Dr. Porter activated a holographic display showing the solar system with countless small points of light scattered throughout. Our true capabilities are hidden in plain sight. What appears to be ordinary research stations, orbital habitats, and communications satellites are actually components of an integrated defense system. Those aren't weather satellites orbiting Earth. They're quantum displacement platforms. Admiral Wright touched the display, zooming in on Mars. The red planet rotated slowly, showing ordinary-looking research bases at both poles. Those aren't just scientific outposts, Commander, she said. Colonel Heather Blackwood is there now, activating the Valkyrie defense platforms. Valkyrie. Alexis echoed the unfamiliar term. Autonomous weapon systems, Dr. Porter explained, designed to attack from unexpected vectors using technology the visitors won't anticipate. We've kept all of this hidden, waiting for this moment. A technician approached and handed Dr. Porter a tablet. She scanned it quickly and nodded. This confirms our suspicions. The alien fleet matches the energy signatures from 30 years ago with 99% certainty. And the Titan outpost? Alexis asked. What exactly happened there? The visitors took 27 people, Dr. Porter said. Her voice grew quiet. They were studying us, analyzing our biology, our technology, our capabilities. We believe they concluded we were not yet a threat, but worth monitoring. The attack on Titan was a sample collection, not an invasion. And now they've returned to finish what they started. Alexis said. Dr. Porter nodded. Exactly. But this time we're ready. An alarm chimed softly throughout the facility. Admiral Wright moved quickly to a central command station. The visitors have increased their speed, she announced. They'll reach Mars orbit in 48 hours, not 72. Begin Phase 1. Throughout the facility, people moved with renewed urgency. Screens displayed activation codes being sent to hidden installations across the solar system. What is Phase 1? Alexis asked. Misdirection, Admiral, Wright replied. We need them to believe their assessment of Earth's capabilities is correct. The entire plan depends on them underestimating us. Colonel Blackwood's face appeared on the main screen. Her dark skin contrasted with the white interior. Of the Mars Command Center Valkyrie platforms are online. Admiral, she reported, all systems nominal. We're masked as research equipment just as planned. The visitors won't detect anything unusual until it's too late. Excellent. Admiral Wright replied. Maintain stealth protocols. Let them pass Mars without incident. Our goal is to draw them all the way to Earth orbit before we reveal our true capabilities. The Admiral turned to Alexis. You should understand, Commander, that everything you thought you knew about Earth's defense capabilities has been deliberately limited. What the public and even most military personnel believe is an elaborate facade. We've maintained this technological illusion for decades, preparing for this exact scenario. Another alert sounded. A technician called out from her station. Admiral, we're detecting communication signals from the visitor fleet. They're transmitting in all frequencies, including some we've never observed before. Put it on screen, ordered Admiral Wright. The main display shifted, showing strange symbols flowing across the screen. Dr. Porter studied them intently. Recognition flashed in her eyes. It's a demand for surrender, she said. They're announcing their claim to this system and all its resources, including Earth. They expect us to understand that, Alexis asked. They don't care if we understand, Dr. Porter replied. They're simply following their protocol. A formal declaration of intent before conquest. Alexis felt anger rising within her. How many civilizations had these visitors conquered? How many species had they destroyed? The thought of Earth suffering the same fate was unacceptable. We should broadcast our response. Alexis suggested. Let them know we won't surrender. Admiral Wright exchanged glances with Dr. Porter. A slow smile spread across the Admiral's face. That's precisely what we need to do, Commander. But not a message of defiance. A message of fear. Understanding dawned on Alexis. They needed to maintain the deception, convince the visitors that Earth was panicking exactly as an inferior civilization should. Within minutes, Earth's official response was broadcast across all frequencies. The message was crafted to appear desperate, pleading for mercy, while attempting to sound brave. Alexis had to admire the performance. Their militaries seemed disorganized, their leaders frightened. The visitors would perceive exactly what they expected. A primitive species facing an overwhelming force. Defense satellites in Earth. Orbit began powering up their conventional weapon systems, looking weak and disorganized while secretly being stronger than ever, had become humanity's greatest strategy. Dr. Porter led Alexis to another section of the facility. This room was smaller, filled with strange devices connected to what appeared to be ordinary communication equipment. This is how we'll coordinate our actual response, she explained. These quantum entanglement communicators can't be detected or intercepted. We've spent decades placing them throughout the solar system. She gestured to a map showing hidden installations on Mercury, Venus, several asteroids, and the moons of Jupiter. Every one of these locations houses weapons and systems the visitors can't possibly anticipate. We've studied the recovered technology and improved upon it. But how can we possibly match their level of advancement, Alexis asked. They've likely been spacefaring for centuries longer than yes. Dr. Porter's expression grew serious. We don't need to match them, Commander. We just need to surprise them. Their overconfidence is our greatest advantage. They expect us to fight like a Category 3 civilization. They have no idea we've been developing Category 7 technologies in secret. Colonel Blackwood's voice came through the communicator. The visitor fleet has passed Mars orbit, Admiral. No sign they detected our platforms. Good, Admiral Wright replied. All Earth forces are to maintain apparent defensive posture. Conventional weapons only until my command as Alexis. Watch the holographic display tracking the approaching fleet. She finally understood the full scope of humanity's deception. For decades, Earth had maintained the appearance of normal technological development while secretly preparing for this very moment. The visitors would arrive expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they would encounter humanity's hidden strength, a force developed specifically to counter their invasion. How long until they reach Earth orbit? Alexis asked. 36 hours. Admiral Wright replied. Time enough to complete our final preparations. She turned to Alexis' commander. I want you to join Fleet Admiral Olivia Martinez at Pacific Command. You'll be her tactical advisor when we spring our trap. Alexis nodded acceptance of her new assignment. As she prepared to depart, Dr. Porter approached her. The older woman placed a hand on Alexis's shoulder. They ignored our warnings, Commander Porter said softly. Soon they'll understand their mistake. Soon there'll be nothing but space debris.